Welcome everyone. Today me and my baby alien friend are here to talk to you about contact forces, which we're seeing an example of right now. As you can see that there is some contact in between the book and the alien. In general, contact forces arise whenever you have contact between two different objects. They're obviously distinct from non-contact forces, something like the gravitational force that I might get on something as it's moving around near the Earth. So we're not talking about that kind of force today, but instead talking about forces that are resulting from contact between objects. There are a few different ways that we might classify contact forces. The first of these, thinking again about a system like this, is called the normal force. And the reason for that is that it arises from contact between a surface and another object where the force is perpendicular or normal to that surface. So we'll go ahead and write that down over here. So one example of this is a normal force. And again, the definition for normal here has to do with the fact that the force is perpendicular to the surface. So perpendicular to the surface of contact. And we will very commonly write a normal force using our regular notation as F. Force, of course, is a vector with an n superscript, or you might see it written as a capital N. Those are really common ways of representing that sort of forces. Another force that you can think about that is a contact force is if you have some sliding between the two objects, between the baby alien here and the book, then you might have a friction force. And a friction force, which you'll learn about in more detail a little bit later, is also a contact force that arises when you have a surface, but it is a force which is parallel to the surface of contact. And if you're not sure what kind of friction you have, you might denote it, again, with a capital F for force and a lowercase f, or you might just decide to use the lowercase f symbol. And as you'll see later in the course, there are different kinds of friction that you might further identify in your force list. Another example of a force that you might have that is due to contact is a tension force, something that's arising from some object which is connected to another object and with which I can pull or swing the object around. This again takes contact of some kind between the objects, but in contrast to the normal force, which is very much a pushing level force, I can imagine pushing on a wall or something like that, and friction, which has to do with sliding. Tension tends to be a pulling style force. So I can add that to my picture here. So we've got tension forces. And tension forces are always directed along a rope or string. And we typically would represent them symbolically with F with a T superscript, or sometimes just with a capital T.